We have decided to go ahead and make an American Bully color video to make it very easy and simple for you to understand.
Oh yeah! Hell yeah! Oh yeah!
Now mind you, a lot of the information that we're going to go over is translatable to many bully breeds out there, but this one is strictly specific to American Bullies. All right, before we get started, we have to go over a couple of terms. This way we can understand each other as to what we're talking about.
What you talking about, Willis?
The first word up is locus. Locus means location. It's the specific physical location of a gene in a chromosome. In plural, you could say loci or loci. I've heard it both ways. An allele is nothing more than one or two or more versions of a gene. A dog inherits 2 alleles for each gene, one from each parent. If 2 alleles are the same, they are referred to as being homozygous. If they are different, then you refer to that as heterozygous.
Heterozygous or homozygous?
Genotype is the combination of alleles a dog has in a particular loci.
Said it again.
He said it, don't make him say it.
Or location. Phenotype is the physical appearance that is impacted by the genotype and its environment, or a combination thereof. Recessive genes mean that you must have a homozygotic pair, meaning they both have to be the same, in order to be able to express its phenotype. Dominant refers to only needing one of the 2 genes to be there in order for it to express itself in the phenotype, meaning this guy right here will express without this guy over here being the same as it.
Completely dominated by
battle, one struggling to dominate the other. One won't submit though.
You probably have heard the term melanin.
I believe so.
Yeah, I believe so.
I believe so.
But melanin can actually be broken down into 2 parts.
Two parts.
You have the eumelanin, where it affects the pigment in the dog's coat, nose, paw pad, and eye color. Eumelanin produces black or brown color in these areas. However, there are genes that will change the production and structure of the eumelanin, and we'll cover that here in a bit. Just know for now that the areas that eumelanin actually resides is the coat, nose, paw pads, and eyes. Pheomelanin is a reddish to yellow pigment that is produced in the coat. We'll be touching up on pheomelanin once we start hitting the E locus, or the E location. We're gonna go ahead and go over the E, K, A, B, and D alleles.
Say what?
We're also gonna talk about a specific relationship between the K and the A allele.
That's what I'm talking about! That's what I'm talking about!
Which is going to decide whether your tricolors or tri-points or tan points are actually going to show. But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Aren't you getting a little ahead of yourself?
Getting ahead of yourself.
First and foremost, we got to hit the E allele. In the E allele, you could have a capital E, lowercase m, capital E, lowercase g, uppercase E, or lowercase e. And it has a hierarchical dominance. At the very top, you have uppercase E, lowercase m, and that stands for melanistic or dark mask. This is dominant to all other E alleles. In our breed, dogs that actually have this melanistic mask a lot of times are referred to as smut, but these are not the only ones that can show it. You can also have a blue fawn, and that's just where the dog's completely fawn and it's showing a blue melanistic mask, and that's because the diluted gene is activated. But we'll get into that here in a minute. Next in line is uppercase E, lowercase g for grizzle, and it looks like the widow's peak in the Afghan wolfhound. In order for this to show, you must have a KY, KY in the K locus and ATAT in the A locus. Remember I said earlier there's a relationship between the A and the K?
I remember.
We're just getting into it, but for now, just know for this EG or grizzle to show itself, you must have KY, KY in the K locus and ATAT in the A locus. Next up is the capital E allele. And what it does is it provides eumelanin for the rest of the coat, and it is dominant to lowercase e, which is recessive red, and can also be referred to as cream. I'm gonna let you know already. If you have 2 lowercase e's, it will not show your tricolor. So let's go back to the relationship between the K and the A allele. So dogs that carry 2 capital E's, or a capital E and a lowercase e, they're able to produce black, brown, blue, and Isabella colored dogs. Isabella meaning a diluted brown. However, the distribution of this hairs is completely dependent on the genotypes at the K and A loci, or locus, or location. Dogs that are lowercase EE are what we call in our breed cream. Cream is the money. Now I'm gonna let you know already, cream pretty much trumps everything. What it means is the dog can only produce cream colored dogs, doesn't have the ability to produce darker color ones. If you're seeing the chart, it's recessive red, so you can't get anything else than a different variation of a cream color.
Not happening.
You could have a darker variation or a lighter variation. In fact, that's where the famous champagne color comes from. So let me talk to you about Super K9 Ultimate Mass Gain. Mind you, I only recommend this for dogs that are 2 years or older. In this particular supplement, you're looking at 75% protein, 20% fat. If you're looking for big, thick, defined muscle, this 3-pound bag will do it for you. This particular supplement can be added to food or to water. And one more thing, we're gonna go ahead and give you a 15% discount.
Oh, way.
So where do you get it? Well, you turn the bag over and you're gonna see it's the only one that's carrying the QBN logo as well as our platforms. Not to mention the discount code right there, QBNK100. I also recommend you keep these bags because for every 5 of these bags that you have and you're able to show me with a picture, I'm gonna go ahead and give you a free consult. 15 minutes, one-on-one FaceTime. But if it wasn't enough, we also have a puppy formula called Mother's Milk. It actually includes goat milk as well as green tripe, which from what I hear is almost nowhere to be found. A lot of you have been writing to me about 305. So here's a little secret. This is actually what I'm giving him. Goat milk is pretty much a universal protein for mammals, and green tripe serves as a pre and probiotic, meaning my dog is consuming more of what I'm already feeding. Again, guys, I recommend you save these bags. Once I see you have 5 of these bags with the QBN logo on them, you're gonna get a free one-on-one 15-minute FaceTime consult. Don't forget, QBNK100 is the discount code, 15% for you in all of your purchases. Now, let's get back to it. If we move on down to the K allele, you're gonna find that there's only 2 alleles that we're gonna be talking about.
There's only 2. Okay, but only 2.
In reality, I've spoken in the past about the K, capital B, also about the KY, and also about the KBR, meaning K, locus, brindle. But for all intents and purposes, we're just going to keep it to the KB and the KY since Embark no longer tests for the KBR. Now, like I just said, on the K locus, the KB is considered to be dominant black. And all that means is it trumps whatever the A locus has to say.
Whatever you say.
You can have AT, meaning 10 points or try. But if you have a KB in the K locus, it trumps anything that's in the A, meaning it doesn't matter if you have AT, it's not going to show, at least not in theory. Now, if you have KY in the K allele, what you have going on in the A locus will express, as long as you also don't have 2 lowercase e's. Remember, like I said, the cream color trumps everything else. Again, this is breed specific to the American Bully. What I have found in the A locus is AY, which is equivalent to fawn or / sable. And AY is dominant to all other alleles.
All about dominance. Right. Got it. Dominance.
The only other one I will talk about here is AT. And AT simply means the 10 points will be expressed. So if you see AT in your A locus, it means the dog is tri-carrier. The dog should not be able to express its tricoloring because the tri gene is a recessive gene.
It's recessive.
And you need a homozygotic pair. They got to be identical. You have to have AT. AT is just not going to cut it.
Not gonna cut it.
You can breed to a dog that's AT, which is another tri-carrier, or AT, which is a full tri dog. However, you will not have an entire tri litter. Those dogs that come out with AT are going to be carriers, but they're not going to show it because the AY, which doesn't allow 10 points, trumps AT, which actually allows them. So a dog that's AT pretty much is a sable dog. Next up is the B locus. For those of you that like the light colored coats and also the light colored eyes, pay attention. The B locus determines black pigment in the coat, nose, paw pads, and eyes. Now in the B locus, you have 2 options. You could either have a capital B, which stands for black, or lowercase b, which stands for brown. As you can imagine, black is a dominant gene, therefore all you need is 1 capital B in order for that to be expressed. And in brown, you're gonna need 2 lowercase b's in order for that to be expressed. Now the other locus that interacts directly with the B locus is the D locus. The D locus is gonna determine if melanin in the coat, nose, paw pads, and eyes will be diluted, as the D locus is considered the dilution locus. So what do I mean by that?
You tell me?
Please tell me.
I mean that a dog that's got, say, KB can be diluted to a gray or even a blue, and a brown dog to a light fawn. The dilution gene is a recessive gene, meaning you need 2 lowercase d's identically in order for the dilution to take effect. Whereas if you have a capital D, that means non-dilute. regardless if it's followed by a lowercase d, which would mean a dilution carrier. Dogs with 2 lowercase d's usually have gray to a light gray nose, and their eyes can range from light brown, yellow, yellow-green, or gray. Now, in our breed, a bunch of y'all love saying you have a lilac dog, when in reality, it's an Isabella. What is Isabella? Isabella is nothing more than having brown, which is represented by 2 lowercase b's, and a dilution gene, which is your 2 lowercase d's. When you combine these two, that's how you get Isabella.
Holy shnikes!
Guys, if you didn't know, you will now. Nuvet and New Joint Plus are the only 2 multivitamins that we're actually using in our yard. Whether you're feeding raw or you're feeding kibble, I strongly recommend you give Nuvet a chance over chicken liver or even beef liver. You already know all the hormones and steroids they feed chicken and cows. Do you really want to be feeding that liver to your dogs? New Joint Plus, DS meaning double strength, is what we use on our dogs to make sure that they have joint support. Now, you guys know I'm a stickler for east-west, high rear, and other orthopedic issues. I can tell you we've been written to by many people about Nuvet and New Joint Plus, not just saving them money because their dogs are actually consuming more of the food they eat, actually correcting non-genetic orthopedic issues that are actually being caused by dietary insufficiencies. That's where this multivitamin and this joint support come in. Now, keep in mind, this is a 90-day supply, and if you put in auto ship, we're going to give you a 13% discount. We're going to go ahead and give you our order code, since you cannot buy this in stores. And we're going to be leaving a link down below in descriptions. Now let's get back to it. Next up is the S locus, and it controls where pigment is produced in the dog's coat and skin. So the 2 alleles you have is capital S or lowercase s, lowercase p. The way I like to think of it is the uppercase S means solid or solid color, and the lowercase SP stands for spotting. So for those of you that are breeding, say, for piebulls, lowercase SP and lowercase SP will give you that piebald look, which is nothing more than islands of colors. Color. With seas of white.
White.
However, as a carrier, meaning you have an uppercase S and a lowercase SP, you may still get some white patterning. It's not as profuse as if though you had 2 alleles that were lowercase s, lowercase p. Now, according to Embark, S is not the only variable.
What's a variable?
That's going to affect spottings in dogs, and they're currently researching the others.
Research.
So how do you work this in real time with real dogs?
Tell me! You have to tell me!
Please tell me, please tell me, please.
Well, let's take our boy 305. We know he's got EM, which shows for a melanistic mask. However, this is very breed specific. It may or may not show in our breed. But I can tell you, just looking at 305, he doesn't have a melanistic mask, even though genetically he can. When we come down to his K locus, we see it's KY, which opens up everything under the A locus. So we see in the A locus, he has ATAT, which are the tan points, and we could definitely physically see it on the dog. We then go ahead and take a stroll down to the B locus, and we find he's got 2 lowercase b's, bringing him in line with brown. However, in the D locus, he has 2 lowercase d's, which means he has dilution. Therefore, he no longer is a brown dog. He's Isabella with tan points. I know in our community, we refer to this as lilac, but this is not lilac. This is Isabella with tan points. Also, 305 in the S locus has uppercase S, meaning solid. So there's no white coloring, as well as 2 lowercase m's in the M locus for Merle, which means he's not Merle, and 2 lowercase h's in the H locus, meaning he's not Harlequin. So there is no melanin displacement. So I'm going to go ahead and do a second dog in order to compare to 305, and we're going to use our boy Power. If you go to the E locus, you're going to see he has uppercase E, lowercase m, and it repeats uppercase E, lowercase m, which means he can have a melanistic mask. Next up, we go to his K locus, and we see he has a K, uppercase B, KY, meaning that KB is considered dominant black. And if you notice on the chart, it immediately goes to the B and D locus and bypasses the A. So his B locus is uppercase B, lowercase b, again, meaning dominant black. But his D locus has 2 lowercase d's, and thus it dilutes the black to either blue or charcoal. Now, if you notice, based on theory, we should not be able to see tan points on Power. Even though on his A locus, he's ATAT, it gets bypassed or trumped by the K capital B. That's your dominant black. That's like painting black over tan points. Black is the dominant color, so it won't let the tan points show.
Is that right? That's right.
That's right. That's right!
In Power's case, he has dilution on his dominant black, thus the creation of what is called a ghost tribe.
Ghosts.
The 10 points are making it through, not as strong as they would had he not been a black dog or had the KB at the K locus. But it's still enough where you can see the shade being there. Like I said, that is referred to as a ghost tri.
Hear that?
Ghost tri.
Now in the S locus, he's uppercase S, which is solid. So there's no white anywhere. In addition, in the M locus, I know we haven't spoken about it, which is for merles. He's got 2 lowercase m's, meaning there is no merle pattern. And in the H for harlequin, he's got 2 lowercase h's, which means no harlequin, so there is no melanin displacement.
None.
Not even a little.
Now that I've shown you 2 tri dogs that are actually different in coloration, I'm going to show you their mom, who isn't tri and yet was able to produce a tri-colored dog, or a dog with 10 points. And this is our girl, Aruba. She has an uppercase E, lowercase m, and an uppercase E, lowercase m in the E locus, basically stating that she can have a melanistic mask. But that's something that's not so predominant in our breed. When we go to her K locus, she is K uppercase B, K lowercase y. And that KB means dominant black, which means it trumps whatever she has going on in the A locus. We take a look at the A locus anyways, and she is AYAT. And I told you guys earlier, AY trumps AT, so it will not show tricoloration. So in this sense, we could say AY is dominant and AT is recessive, because in order for you to be able to show tri or 10 points, it must be AT. They got to be identical or homozygous. But in this case, you have AYAT. Because of this AY being dominant, it trumps this AT, and it doesn't show 10 points anywhere. So we see 2 lowercase b's in the B locus, which signify for brown, and 2 lowercase d's in the D locus, which signifies for dilution. We've already spoken that the combination of brown diluted is considered Isabella. That AY in the A locus equals fawn/sable. And sable is going to show the pattern from a bird's eye view on top of the dog's back. You can see a cross. Also, Aruba is uppercase S for solid in the S locus. And then next to it, she has a lowercase s, lowercase p for spotting, lending herself to patterns such as piebald, meaning she is a carrier at best. On the M locus, we see 2 lowercase m's, meaning she is not merle. And on the H locus, we have 2 lowercase h's, meaning she is not harlequin. So just looking at this right here and realizing that in her A locus, she's AYAT, it means that the sire of each one of these 2 males at minimum had to be either AYAT tri-carrier or ATAT full-blown tri. Let me show you what that looks like on the Punnett square. So at the very top, we're going to go ahead and place Aruba. We already know she's AYAT, meaning tri-carrier. On the side, we're going to place X sire, and we're going to say he's also a tri-carrier. AY on top, AT on the bottom. So now we're going to come across and match up the alleles. We're going to match up the sire's AY allele with the dam's AY allele, and you get AY. Next up, we're going to match his AY allele with her AT allele, and you're going to get AYAT. We're then going to do the same at the bottom. We're going to match up his AT allele with her AY allele, and we're going to have AYAT. Lastly, we're going to go ahead and match up his AT allele with her AT allele, and you have ATAT. If you notice, AY equals 25% of the squares. AYAT equals 50% of the squares, and ATAT equals 25% of the squares. These are the percentages of the possibilities of a tri-carrier being bred to another tri-carrier, where you're going to have 25% of the pups that are not going to be tri-carriers at all. You're going to have 50% of the pups that are going to be tri-carriers, and now you're going to have 25% of the pups that are going to be full tries. Now, it's really important you realize that genetics is based on probability. Does this mean that out of a 4-pup litter, we're for sure going to have 1 puppy that's going to be AY, 2 puppies that are going to be AYAT, and 1 pup that's going to be ATAT? No, there is no 100% guarantee.
Hell no.
Hell no.
Of course not.
But going into it, these are the possibilities. Now let's go ahead and run a Punnett square with a tri-carrier and a full tri. So let's go ahead and leave Aruba up there with her AYAT, and let's bring in sire Y. He's ATAT. We're going to go ahead and match up his AT with her AY, and you get AYAT. We're then going to match up his AT with her AT, and you're gonna get AT-AT. Then again, we're gonna match up his AT with her AY, and we're gonna have AY-AT, and we're gonna match up his AT with her AT, and we're gonna have AT-AT. So now the possibilities are right there in front of you. 2 out of the 4 squares signify they are AY-AT, meaning 50% will be tri-carriers. The other 2 squares are AT-AT, meaning they're full tries, which tells you that a combination of a tri-carrier, in this case Aruba, and a full try, in this case Sire Y, is going to yield you 50% of the litter to be AY-AT or tri-carriers, and the other 50% will be AT-AT, meaning full tries. Notice, in this particular scenario, we did not have any squares that represented AY-AY, discarding that possibility from even happening.